Hey, welcome to Tales from the Troll Hole. I'm your host, Cecil Bee, and together we're going to dive deep into the internet and find what stories there are to be read, enjoyed, laughed at, cried with, you name it. Thanks for coming along on this journey with me. Now grab your torch and pitchfork. Let's dive into this troll hole. Here we are again with another episode of Tales from the Troll Hole. Today, we are going to get into some glitch in the Matrix stories because those are fascinating to me as well, although I really did enjoy the coincidences episode from last time, and I'm going to do another one of those for sure. But I've been up to a lot of hiking, a lot of working, doing some art stuff. It's been really fun. And I feel like I made a mental list of things I wanted to say off the top, just musings and wonderings, but I didn't make that list, except for in my brain, so now it's gone. So I'm sure it'll pop up as we go through the episode. One thing I will say, though, is that I've been super into Wordle lately. I'm a couple years too late. I know that. I understand. However, it is very fun and infuriating. Absolutely infuriating. But I love word games and I love word puzzles. Having a really great time with those. New York Times, great job. Great job with games. So, glitch in the Matrix moment, if somehow you don't know what that is, it's when something happens that makes you question the nature of your reality, to quote HBO's Westworld. It's something bizarre that feels like it's defying the laws of physics or the laws of mathematics or chance or probability or anything like that. Something that makes you stop and wonder if you're actually alive or if this is a simulation. Ooh, but wait, simulation ones would be, specifically simulation ones would be a good one for another time too. Let me put that in a mental list that I will not write down and forget about. Side note about the movie The Matrix, I remember when that came out and it was such a smash hit. It was so good. Such a good movie. And the second one was okay, and the rest are not worth anybody's time. I cannot, especially the last one, I want to pretend that that one didn't exist. Can that be the glitch in the Matrix? That movie now does not exist? Where's that Mandela effect? Can I live in that universe? And that is to say, I don't make movies. If I tried to, it'd probably be bad. But would it be as bad as The Matrix 4? We will never know the answer to that, probably. And art is subjective. Maybe you loved The Matrix 4, but I can't believe that would be true of anyone. Okay, that rant is over. So now let's get into some glitch in the Matrix stories from different users on Reddit, shall we? Unless otherwise noted, all of these stories will be from different users on Reddit. 10 years ago, I was returning home from a road trip with two friends. I received a phone call from my parents asking when we would be arriving, and I explained that we were about 25 minutes away. About a minute later, we came back around a bend. It was a full moon, and we could see the reflection from a lake below us, and other than that, the road was completely empty. Suddenly, everything went completely dark in the car. No lights from the dash or gauges or headlights on the road. The music also stopped and restarted at the beginning of the CD we were listening to. There was now a vehicle pulled over by the police about a quarter mile in front of us that hadn't been there a split second before. I assumed I had just dozed off for a second as it was late. I thought it was still quite peculiar, though. After about a minute, the driver of the car turned the music all the way down and said, "Did that just happen to anyone else?" The other passenger in the back seat sat forward abruptly and exclaimed, "I thought I just fell asleep." We then realized that the clock in the car was reading an hour later than it had just a minute before. To keep ourselves from freaking out, we decided that the car had possibly had a momentary electrical failure and reset the clock to an odd time, turned off the dash lights, headlights, and gauges, and restarted the CD player. But when we arrived home 25 minutes later, we were 1 hour late. Am I missing an hour of my life? And to this day, I have no idea how it happened. That's truly bizarre. My initial thought is, an EMP went off or something, but I feel like you would hear it or see it or something like that. But another explanation could be wormhole or a tear in a dimension where you went to a parallel one of super duper closeness. Like the only thing that's different is somebody didn't get highlights last week. You know what I mean? So, because maybe the multiverse is stacked right next to each other, and it's just a very, very slight difference as you go from one to the next one. And to get a supreme difference, you would have to fold that material and jump to one that's way away from you, if that makes any sense at all. But that's really fascinating. I mean, the fact that it happened to everyone. I mean, I would have wanted to have talked to the cop and the person that got pulled over. But of course, by then you're still, you drive right past them because you're still assuming that you fell asleep. And also that poor driver must have been like, oh my God, I just fell asleep and I'm driving these people. But that's a good one. That's very odd. It's almost like a reset of something. It reminds me of the Truman Show a little bit, when everybody resets, they go to day, morning, their positions, and they just wait for everything to start, just like normal. Side note, I am currently sitting on a footstool because I got a computer chair because I've been sitting on like this folding style chair for a while. So I'm sitting on a footstool right now, which is pretty funny to me. And then I'm going to put together a new computer chair, which is exciting, but that's neither here nor there. Back to the stories. When I was a teenager, I had 2 really intense dreams one night. The first one was about an online friend of mine calling me to say she'd broken up with her boyfriend, and I sang a few lines of Seal's Don't Cry to her over the phone. The second dream was finding a real-life friend dead body floating in her bathtub. Ooh. Listen, I feel like that's more of a nightmare than a dream, but anyway. I didn't think anything of it up until I logged online that evening and the online friend came online to tell me that her boyfriend broke up with her. Immediately, I asked if I could call her, and she said no. I remember thinking it meant something, like I could change it. Not long after, my phone rang, and it was real-life friend from the dream calling me. I was completely freaked at this point, but talked to her normally. She was just talking about school and shit, up until I realized I heard a splash in the background. I asked her, "Are you in the tub?" When she said yes, I felt like my heart had stopped. I asked her, "What did you do?" She didn't answer me right away. And then after a very long pause, she told me she'd taken an entire bottle of pills and chased it with mushrooms and vodka. She'd gotten scared waiting for it to hit her, so she called me so she could hear someone's voice. I hung up and called 911. By the time they got there, she was unconscious but alive. Today, she's a mom to a beautiful little girl, and she's okay. Holy smokes. I'm kind of wondering if that's the only time this has happened to this person, because they posted this 11 years ago. In 2008, I would think. But wow, you saved somebody, What else? What else has this person not told us? I could go deep diving into their profile, but I feel like I'm not going to do that. And also, did you tell these people that you had dreams? Because that's an important part of it too. What was their reaction? Was this a Final Destination kind of situation? Do you constantly have to check up on this person and make sure that they do not own a bathtub and that they don't have any buckets full of 3 inches of water? Because that seems pretty important, if it is. I just rewatched all of them? No, not the last one, but the Final Destination movies. And to me, hear me out. So they are the morbid Fast and Furious. They are the gory Land Before Time. They've made so many of them, but they're following the Fast and Furious rules of naming. So Final Destination, Final Destination 2, Final Destination 3, The Final Destination, and then Final Destination 5? Maybe? Unless they're different, but why are they all named different things? And I'm not sure if they're directed all by different people, but I think number 4 was stylistically so different. That one, besides the first one, number 4 is my favorite one because it is very interesting style-wise. And I like when they play to the intelligence of the audience and they're not just like, oh, you see this? There's a picture of a knife on the guy's shirt, so he's going to get stabbed. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, here's the next story. I have a sleep tracking app on my phone that has a setting for lucid dreaming. It will start saying, "You are dreaming," repeatedly in a woman's voice with a bit of an echo. I was at work one day when I started hearing the voice randomly every few minutes or so. I checked my phone, and as soon as the screen turned, I woke up in my bed as the sun was rising. A bit freaked out, I went to take a shower. Then on my way to work, I started to hear the voice again through the radio. So I turned my car off, a bit freaked out again. I once more wake up in my bed as the sun was rising. This happened about 3 or 4 more times, and all at different times of the quote-unquote day. I didn't trust reality for about a week after that, and I still refuse to use that particular setting of the app. Damn. I want to try that app. I want to try it. Or maybe there's some kind of Spotify playlist that has something similar so that maybe if one thing works or doesn't work, then there's other things in the playlist that can help activate that part of your brain. Because I've mentioned in other episodes that I'm super interested in lucid dreaming. I want to do it. I've had dreams where I'm flying. I've had dreams like all that kind of cool stuff that people are like, "Oh man, I wish I could dream about that." Swimming under the ocean, being in space, all of it. But I want to be in control of it. Maybe I'm just a control freak. It's hard to say. I was sitting in my car with just my dad, and I distinctly heard my sister, who was at home, say, "Are you guys almost home? I'm very scared," in a specific, concerned tone of voice. 2 seconds later, my dad's phone rings. Guess who's on the line? My sister. She said, "Are you guys almost home? I'm very scared," in the same concerned tone of voice. I was pretty freaked out. I like a healthy dose of skepticism. So the comment right below this one says, "It's possible it was a memory error. An auditory memory was retroactively double sequenced. Happens sometimes with those neural network designs. Sloppy work. Tell your IT department to stick with drives for storage. The interface is a little tricky, but once you've got it, you'll get the best of both worlds. It goes something like neural network, search, interface, long-term storage, transfer interface, neural network for short-term storage and processing." I thought for a split second, because I don't read these before I start reading them on this podcast because I want to experience it the way you do. So I thought that this was legitimately a skeptic comment, and I was taken for a goddamn ride into some IT bullshit. That was really funny. All right, I took a brief break to play with my dogs, and also I ate a handful of nuts, which I then choked on. Now I'm back. Not creepy, but so vivid and distinct that I still think about it years later. I had a subjectively long, involved dream where I was a vendor in a fish market. I remember getting up early, dressing, doing a whole morning routine, going to get tea, heading out to the docks, buying fish, loading them in a cart, and going to get ice, then haggling for ice, buying some less fresh fish while I was at it, then going to a market to my stall, setting up and selling fish all day. It was so real. I talked to friends, smoked nasty cigarettes, haggled customers, ate lunch, had tea, and just dived through the day. At the end of the day, I cleaned up, counted my cash, paid the stall rent, went home, cooked some of the fish I hadn't sold, slung with some veggies and some rice that I traded for. I drank more tea, relaxed for a while, then drew a hot bath, soaked and smoked some more cigs, then went to bed. The next morning, I woke up refreshed, ready to go down to the docks to buy fresh catch, except I was in my house, next to my wife, truck parked outside, and it was Saturday, no work. My wife and I were getting geared up to go skiing in Oregon, and the car was already packed. Weird thing was, in the dream, I was single and a smoker. I'm not. And the whole long dream had been in fluent Chinese, the effortless kind of fluency that only comes from a lifetime of speaking it. Oh, and I had been Chinese. I'm a big, hairy, white dude, somewhat fluent in Spanish, and I know a little bit of Russian, but it was just weird. I've never worked in a fish market. I wonder who I was. I wonder what that was. The comment underneath it says, "Meanwhile, in China, a Chinese fish vendor woke up after having a dream about being a big, hairy white dude with a wife and a truck. Haha." Now that's super interesting too, because it seems like you could have accidentally tapped into someone else's consciousness, or maybe tapped into a previous life, because I don't think that previous lives are lived in a linear fashion. For example, I think that you could interact with another version of you in your lifetime. That's just my own personal belief, but that could be what was going on. Or maybe you ate something weird. Or maybe there was a movie or something on in the background that sort of sparked your brain into going into storytelling mode. Or it really was a glitch in the Matrix and you just kind of accidentally got a peek at somebody else's storyline because of some code glitch. Clode. Here's another comment under that story. Awesome story. One question though, if you don't speak Chinese, how do you know everyone else was speaking fluent Chinese in the dream? Maybe it was just nonsense. You thought you were saying that'll be 100 yuan for the red snapper when in fact you were saying today is Mexico and your sister is a fire hydrant. That's a fair point. But yeah, because I mean, like when I'm talking, I don't think in my brain, I'm speaking fluent English. I'm just talking. So he very well could have been, but not just consciously aware of it. There's a lot to consider here. And I'm curious to know what his wife thought about the whole situation, providing he told her, or if he had any dreams like that ever again. I got a call from a police officer telling me if I didn't pay some old fines within a week, he would come arrest me. The total was $267.63. It was about 2 weeks before Christmas, so I was really sweating it. The very next day, I got a check in the mail for $267.63 for overpaid child support throughout the year. Craziest, most unexplainable thing I have ever had happen to me. Now, that's one of those situations where of course it's just chance, right? I would categorize that as a coincidence. But it also kind of feels like when I'm playing The Sims and I put in that cheat code for cash, you know what I mean? I just don't know. Like the simulation and the Matrix theories are so similar, but they're very different. So I think glitch in the Matrix stories are more like I looked at a seagull in the sky and it wasn't moving. I was moving around it, but it wasn't moving. That kind of thing, where something's broken with whatever program we're in and is giving us a glimpse at the truth that way. That story, while crazy and wild, is definitely more of a coincidence than a glitch in the Matrix, I think. So you fucked up, Mr. Storyteller Man. Get out of here with that shit. I was heading home with my dad. We stopped at a drive-thru. I was feeling more and more anxious for no reason, to the point where it makes me lightheaded and sick to my stomach. We have a wait a little bit ahead because they gave us the wrong order. So I sit there feeling like shit, and suddenly it comes to me to this urge to call my brother. He was trying to call us. He was in a car accident. No one died. Some people got seriously bruised, but he was only shaken up. I told him to shut up and get away from as far away from the car as possible. He didn't understand, but he followed through, trying to call some of his buddies, and I could hear them calling him a wuss, him giving up and getting far away, and then a loud noise, people shouting. After the whole shit was over, he told me what happened. His drunk friend tried to impress some girls in the car, hit the gas, and drifted, and hit the bottom of the car on some rocks, completely fucking with the engine. They stood near the car, driver still inside trying to turn the engine back on. The hood burst in flames and the car started to burn fast. The driver managed to get away, but got severely hurt. Some of the guys and girls who stood around were hurt and burned too, but not as bad as the driver. My brother was the only one with light bruises from the whole thing. He told me that when I ordered him to get away from the car, he was in front of it, inches from the hood. I've never experienced anything like this before and after, this just once. It was a fucking weird memory. I just don't remember what I was thinking. I remember it like watching a movie and seeing myself and everything from an outside angle. That's wild. Yeah, you got to wonder where stuff like that comes from. What part of the brain is tuned in to the people that you love on a subconscious level, on a level that's not affected by space and time. And plus, you also have something to dangle over him for the rest of his life. My dad had this little toy monkey that he used to call his favorite child and tease me and my siblings with it. Not in a bad way, but it was just really frustrating to us, and we spent hours trying to steal it from him. Well, anyways, one day we finally got it and threw it into the garbage after drawing on it and mangling it for a bit. My dad laughed and searched for it for a bit, but basically figured we had thrown it out and gave up after a week or so. Anyways, a few years later, when I was about 17, I'm walking down the street in Toronto. I don't live in Toronto, I was just visiting friends, and I see this little orange object on the side of the road. When I walk over to it, I pick it up and see it was the exact same fucking monkey. It even had the black Sharpie lines on it from when we drew all over it. I honestly can't even come up with the chances of that happening, especially considering our garbage is sent to a local dump and is nowhere near Toronto. I actually took it with me and killed it with fire just so I knew it wouldn't come back again. The comment below says, the only possible explanation is that your father is the greatest troll of all time and followed you to Toronto just to plant that monkey. See, I would believe that theory, but I would also believe a glitch in the matrix thing about trying to render junk on the side of a road. And if this person being the user in this particular section of Matrix, maybe there just wasn't enough bandwidth, so it had to pull something from his memory, so it pulled that monkey, and it looked the same as the last time he had seen it. So I would believe that too. That's a very tricky one. But I don't know about burning it. It didn't seem like it had any bad energy, right? From the story. So I would have wrapped it up and given it back to my dad for Christmas. I used to work in a building that had 3 levels of sub-basements, with the piece of lab equipment I typically worked on in the lowest basement. I had the only key. There was a wired phone in there, and I did work late some nights. But not this night. I was sleeping alone in my apartment, and when I woke up to a call on my cell phone from my girlfriend at 3 a.m., she was in hysterics and asking why I scared her. Apparently, she received a call from that basement phone just a minute earlier with someone who sounded like me, slowly repeating her name until crackling and fading out. My apartment was 10 miles away from work. I thought she was lying, but I saw the 3 a.m. call on the basement phone logged on her cell myself. It still freaks me the fuck out. Yeah, I don't like that at all. That's not good. Here's a fun theory that I have about workplaces. A lot of people claim that their workplaces are haunted or that there's weird energy or weird vibes. Now, a lot of people's workplaces have so much energy because people live most of their waking lives at work. So there's so much energy and anger and happiness and any kind of emotion. And it's all happening in these buildings, all together with a bunch of other people's energies too. So I think that energy imprints can happen. And maybe, just maybe, hear me out, this person just wants to be with his girlfriend when he's at work, so he's thinking about her a lot. And so maybe this energy imprint was him wishing he was with her. And so that's how it manifested itself, by calling her and saying her name, as sort of an echo of his thoughts while he's at work. Now, that's the positive explanation, and that's the one I'm going to go with because it's dark outside. Okay, this is the last one of the evening. I had a monkey on my keychain back in high school. Ooh, another monkey toy one? This right here is a glitch in the fucking Matrix. This is my Matrix glitch moment. Jesus Christ. Okay. Damn, let me compose myself. I had a monkey on my keychain back in high school. This chain was 3 links long. One day, I was walking out to my car and I heard something hit the ground. I looked down to discover the monkey with links 1 and 2 of the chain still attached on the ground and link 3 still attached to my belt. All of the links were still fused together. My only guess is the chain phased itself apart. So I see, okay, so the monkey and 2 of the links are on the ground, and the 3rd link is still attached to the belt, but there's no breakage in the chain. And this person is specifying that there's 3 links because there's not a missing broken 4th link. That's really interesting. And because here's something that is based in reality, in fact. With so much space being between atoms, there's always a chance that when you touch something, you're going to put your hand right through it because the atoms all miss each other. Even though you're solid, your chair is solid. If you sit down, there's a chance you're going to fall right through it. So I'm guessing maybe that's what happened there, which would be absolutely wild because every time I go to like lean against a wall or something, there's like this little tiny flash in my head that says, what if you accidentally physics and get trapped inside the wall? And let's also talk about the not insignificant fact that talking about a monkey and a missing link because of science and bones. What is that? Archaeology? The fuck is that? Anthropology. Hell yeah. So that was pretty cool. And it was my Matrix glitch moment. So what a perfect story to end on. Okay, I'm going to have to do a frog fact like super fast because I've got stuff to do, okay? I've got to go. Today's facts come from treehugger.com, and these are facts about the American green tree frog. So first of all, the name is a lie, because apparently American green tree frogs aren't always green. So they can be lime green, but they can also vary in color depending on the animal's activity. A green tree frog may look olive green, brown, or gray when cool and resting, and then return to vivid green once it's warm and active again. Damn, I bet you that's why we don't hardly see them in winter, because in colder climates, they're just chilling in the mud like little lumpy lumps in the dirt, and they look like the dirt. That's amazing. They can also have white, yellow, or sometimes iridescent stripes along each side of their bodies, just like my bike. Man, reflective strips. Man, that's so cool. They also breed in accordance with the rain. They have developed a rain call that's distinct from their mating or alarm calls. Some people even refer to the species as rain frogs and consider them a good predictor of wet weather to come. That is terrific. Outstanding. What a great batch of frog facts, y'all. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Come back and listen again. If you haven't subscribed already, please do it. And have a great week. Eat something special, spicy perhaps. Have a nice little spicy snack for you, because you deserve a spicy snack. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Tales from the Troll Hole. I'm your host, Cecil Bee, and this show is produced by me. Our theme song is by Vervex. They're a great band. You should give them a listen. You can stream them anywhere. They're also on TikTok and Instagram. Remember to subscribe so that you don't miss out on a single episode. And also find us on Instagram, and then you can send in your own stories. I just ask that they're true and that they're not going to scar somebody for life. You know what I mean? Anyway, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week.